There's a reason that saying goes, go with the one that likes you, not the one you like. All right. So when a woman truly loves you, you control her mind and her body. When a woman doesn't love you, you don't have that control, which means somebody else can come in and control her mind and or her body. That's going to be a problem for most average men in relationships.
Even doing all of the duties, like when he mentioned in the clip that if she's meeting all of your needs, many times a woman is doing that out of love. Is that love that even when she don't want to do it, that I know you guys say like is out of obligation and commitment, but when it's connected with love, it makes it much easier and you can feel the difference.
Both of us were very responsible individuals, right? So being responsible actually took the place of the love that we have for each other. And quite often I see that happening in many different relationships. Two responsible people don't want to let any of the balls drop as they're juggling. And what happens is they lose the love, and oftentimes they lose their own identity.
Would you stay with a woman if she said she is not in love with you, but meets all your needs? Would you stay with a woman if she says she is not in love with you, but meets all of your needs? What you guys thoughts about that? I got a video I'm gonna play, but I'm just curious.
This is good.
Trigger
Let's
Mike.
let the man need to answer that.
I don't even want to go first. I'm very long winded. So please, someone.
No, I'm just asking, like, would you stay? But before we have,
Hell no. No, no,
so if a woman says that she's not in love, but she meets all your needs, you wouldn't
no,
stay.
no, no. I'm gonna give you the what's the get out? No, 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 no,
All
no,
right,
no, 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 no.
Those are what are your thoughts about that question? You keep it brief. You ain't got to hop into it yet.
Nah, to keep it brief, nah, because people can grow you. We seen it happen with Derek Jackson and his wife. He outgrew her, and he didn't need her no more, so he was out. So I think one thing about love is it'll keep you connected regardless of what you need from a person, because it's like a charitable energy. Just keep it short.
All right, Richard Payne, what are your thoughts, sir, when you hear this question? Would you
I
stay
heard
with
that
me?
question. It's on the context of what we're talking about. I mean, are we talking about, and I don't even try to get deep, but are we talking about like agape love, friendship love? What kind of love are we talking about? Romantic love? Um, because part of a long marriage, I would say, is commitment and obligation. And a lot of times we talk about love as a feeling, right? And I think out of 35 years, I think I caught my wife looking at me side eye once in a while. Shit, I don't know whether it's still love or not. But I mean, of course, I don't think she ever fell out of love with me because she always moved in the right kind of way. I never fell out of love with her, but it just kind of depends on what you're talking about. It depends on what your family needs at the time. Because if a person, when you say she no longer loves you, does it mean that she no longer likes you? Does that mean she's no longer obligated to the family that you're trying to build? Are your kids out of the house? Are they still in the house? Men don't generally leave. The statistics kind of say we stick around, and I would say we stick around through a lot of thick and thin. And part of that has to be whether a woman still is infatuatedly in love with us, right? And maybe some people do it, stay around for financial reasons. Some guys might cut out because I would never blame a man for leaving. If he needs that from his wife, I'm talking about not boyfriend and girlfriend, but he needs that from his wife, that kind of tough, romantic love all the time. But by all means, leave. But I'm saying it ain't that easy when you have that marriage. And I mean, if my kids are grown and all that, maybe that's true. But when my two daughters were of formative age, I was going to stay with my wife no matter what. I was never going to let another man get close to my daughters. I don't care whether we were in love or not. I don't need to be happy. When I told my father-in-law that I was going to take his daughter and I'm never giving her back, all I was saying is that my happiness was secondary to my vows and my obligation. And it's easy for me to say that now that I'm, 35 years in there. But I'm glad I didn't have to face that. I really am, because I don't know what I would do. But just walking away and thinking about some other dude knocking out my wife and my kids in the same house, and I'm paying for it. I don't know. I don't know. Anyway, that's my long-winded take on it.
All right. Mistake, you gotta get you some shades. Your head was looking straight, but your eyes were going like this. I'm like,
Sound like you already thought about it, Richard.
Well, I thought about a lot of things. I thought about a lot of things over the course of the years. I just didn't have to face them. You know what I'm saying? But these things go through your heads. I mean, at least they should. I mean, 35 years is a long time, So I mean, I'm looking at my camera, so I might be darting all around. So forgive me if I don't look, straight
It's
at it.
just,
But
it just sounds like you got that negative motivation. Like whenever you running late from work and you think you imagine another man hitting, you start speeding up to get home.
no. I just use that as to ram home a point. I never worry about those kind of things for my honey. I'm glad I didn't do that either. But I mean, just to prove the point, just to throw the story out there. But it wouldn't be that easy for me to just leave my woman because I don't think she has this real deep love for me. Maybe I just don't think it's that easy. I think it's easier said than done. I really do.
all right, Eric, welcome back. I'm gonna go to you with this one. Was asking all the men would they leave? You don't have to go deep into it. I do have a video to play the context, but would you stay with a woman if she says she's not in love with you, but she meets all your needs? I can't hear you.
You're mute.
No, he's not on mute, but it's no sound. It's like the mic is not connected. Whatever mic you use is not connected. Nope.
You gotta
Okay, while he's doing while you go ahead and get that together, I'll come back to you. Let me go ahead and play this video for you guys.
And first and say, if you had a woman who will do everything that you want, fulfill all your needs, but she cannot say that she is in love with you, will you be okay with that? Tons of men will be okay with that. Because their needs are being met. It logically makes sense. They don't need the I love you, right?
All right, there we go. That's the
There you
video
go.
context.
So, I agree with him.
Okay. All right, after seeing the
Wait,
video,
can you
go ahead.
can you do it one more time?
Okay, I'll do it one more time.
Thank you.
Go to a man first and say, if you had a woman who will do everything that you want, fulfill all your needs, but she cannot say that she is in love with you, will you be okay with that? Tons of men will be okay with that. Because their needs are being met. It logically makes sense. They don't need the I love you, right?
Interesting.
So I'm ready now.
All right.
So I think he's right. Tons of men will be okay with it, but not every man can really swing that type of arrangement. I see that type of thing working out for very high earners, men who really just need respect from their woman. But you start to run into issues in the average relationship. All right, where you come home every day, you're not working an excessive amount of hours, and I'll try to explain to the best of my ability why I believe you'll run into those issues. So there's a reason that saying goes, go with the one that likes you, not the one you like. All right. So when a woman truly loves you, you control her mind and her body. When a woman doesn't love you, you don't have that control, which means somebody else can come in and control her mind and her body. That's going to be a problem for most average men in relationships. It's going to take an effect on the children. It's going to take an effect on the stability of your household. So you have to have a woman that's truly in love with you, or at least trying to renew her love for you all the time, so you can control the way your home situation goes. I know most people who are really rich, they have that type of arrangement where it's like, we never really loved each other. She she's so agreeable to everything. She knew I wanted children, but I work 80 hours a week. Right? Love can't really exist in that relationship because there's no time to cultivate it. But 90% of the rest of the world, the rest of the men in the world need their woman to love them in order to carry out a family in an effective manner.
And another thing that I thought about, y'all were, I think Lady Mogulette was talking about, uh, love is how she was, going through the love thing. But one of the ones that was in here says love endures. And I think for a woman, that is a big thing, a big connection for her to want to even stay in a relationship, even doing all of the duties, like when he mentioned in the clip that if she's meeting all of your needs, many times a woman is doing that out of love. Is that love that even when she don't want to do it, that I know you guys say like is out of obligation and commitment, but when it's connected with love, it makes it much easier. And you can feel the difference when they are doing those things, when they are in love with you versus it's just a duty. And yeah, the whole thing is love endures. They'll stick it in. Oops, sorry. They'll stick the let me shut it right there. But y'all know what I'm saying.
Oh, hell yeah.
What y'all got going on today, man?
Can you hear me now,
Like
bro?
they'll
My
stick in
God.
there, meaning they'll stick in the
Somebody about to go love on their man. That's what that means, JR.
Love on the
Subliminal signals.
ring. Mhm.
Can you hear me now, bro?
Yeah, we can hear you. You want to go and answer that question?
I'm not going to connect to that tangent, but I'm going to go a different direction. So I was married for 21 years, and I was in a relationship that was just like that. At first, the love was strong. There was a lot there. We were into each other. We had a lot of things in common. Stuff was we was popping. But then as other things entered into the picture, children, responsibilities, buying a home, taking care of other family members, what happened is those obligations and responsibilities took precedence over the love. And both of us were very responsible individuals, right? So being responsible actually took the place of the love that we have for each other. And quite often I see that happening in many different relationships. Two responsible people don't want to let any of the balls drop as they're juggling. And what happens is they lose the love, and oftentimes they lose their own identity. Now, what that sets up is the opportunity to see something outside of the marriage. And that's where things start to open up for you to kind of cheat, kind of dip and dab, and do other things. And that's why sometimes people can like live that double life. For me, in the latter part of my marriage, that's kind of what happened. Straight up. Like I started seeing things that were more appealing because it looked more like the beginning of my marriage than the end. And it wasn't good. It wasn't good at all. In the latter part of our marriage, there was no love. We didn't have love for each other. And when we sat down and was honest with each other, we looked each other in the face and was like, why are we here? What are we doing? And we both made an amicable decision to separate and then divorce. And more often than not, a lot of people have those types of relationships and they're just not honest with themselves because number one, they think they're doing it for the kids, not realizing that you're giving the kids a horrible example of how to have a relationship and really not be honest. And then number two, how it looks in front of everybody else. But they're not really being true to themselves and they're not being true to their relationship.
I got a question for you, brother. Is it better to give the kids a charade of an example of love and show them that imitation even though you don't want to be there, or is it better to just leave the household?
The thing about it is, man, kids have more discernment than grown-ups. My
Really?
boys told me they knew what was going on all along, bro.
So because your boys told you that, you made the determination that a child has better discernment than an adult.
No, you don't understand. The reason why a child has more discernment because they're not clouded by all the stuff that's going on in the world like we are. They see things for what it really is, bro. Have you ever talked to a child and they just come up to you and say, "Why you got that booger in your nose? Why she got that hat on?" They don't live with filters,
Have no
bro.
filter, right?
They have absolutely no filters.
I agree with you that they don't have any filters, but to say that they have better they got better judgment, they easy.
No, I didn't say
No
judgment.
discernment.
I
They
said
have better
discernment.
discernment. Yeah. They
And
may not be
that's
as
a
wise.
big difference.
Yeah,
I
they
don't
may not
agree
be
with
as
that.
wise.
They don't have better discernment. That's literally calling them an adult. But what I do agree with
but
you
they
saying.
know what's phony, bro.
Yeah.
Kids know what's
Yeah.
phony. They know when love ain't love. I'm telling you. Look at the women nodding and the men not. Really, really check that. A child knows. And
So
I'm
it's
telling
better.
you.
So it's
Children be
better.
knowing.
So that's my
And I'm
question.
telling you,
It's better
I
to
had
be
these
apart.
discussions with my grown sons later. Like all my sons are grown. My youngest son is 28 years old. And literally they let me know, Dad, we knew something was wrong. We
Yeah,
knew
babies know
something was up.
everything. Some kids know
And
everything.
they don't need to
Like,
know the details, but they saw.
but they feel it. They
Yeah,
feel it in
but
the air.
the only way they can feel it and know anything about it is if you're not all the way in. If you're not buying into marriage, you got
Have you
like a
ever
lot of
been in
people.
danger?
A lot of people
Sorry.
lack selflessness when they get in these relationships and they procreate without that trait, and that's very much needed. So you got to set aside the needs and wants that you want for the sake of the marriage and the children, and that's what we're not
Bruiser, I
doing. And that's
did
why
that. Hey, Bruiser, I did that, but the question was about love and loving that woman.
right, but regardless of it, if you love her or not, there's still duty and sacrifice that doesn't have to be removed.
Hey, bro, I stayed until they was all grown and went to school.
Richard,
I
you're
understand.
muted, Mr. Payne.
Yeah, I got it. It just sounds like it was more than just a lack of love going on. And that's what the kids picked up on. They might have picked up on that you're not in this real love relationship, but maybe you're arguing a lot, that kind of stuff. And
We
so
never argued.
if we
never
expand
argued.
if we expand the question to how a lack of your woman's love manifests within a household, then I can see where you're coming from. But if it's something that her feeling just doesn't give to you, the way you express that in front of your children could be different, but based on the kind of understanding you'll have with your woman. So it sounded like a lot of the stuff that was going on, they were able to see. I'm not making any judgment about that, but that's probably why they picked up on it.
Right.
And then even if they picked up on a lack of love, I don't know if that's discernment. That's just a feeling. Your kids will pick up on a lot of stuff in your household. I mean, I won't argue with that.
But this is what I want to tell you. I kissed her in front of them. I bought her flowers. I did a lot of things. And the thing about it is we sacrificed our love for them. So the question is, would you stay with a woman if she is not in love with you, but meets all your needs? I did that for a
So let
very
me
long
ask you, what do you
time.
mean sacrifice your marriage for the kids? What do you mean by that?
What it meant is that we stayed together because I didn't want my sons to grow up without a father.
Okay, I mean, I understand. I said pretty much the same kind of thing, but I don't know if we sacrifice. I don't know if that's the same as sacrificing your love because of the kids. You sacrifice your happiness, and you went through your commitment because of the kids.
But I didn't love her.
Yeah, but yeah, okay, but you didn't sacrifice love. You just sacrificed. You followed through with your vows until they were a certain age.
So what happened to the love then, Mr. Payne?
Well, I mean, you fell out of love because love is a feeling.
Love is a
Depending
choice.
on the kind of love you're talking about, it's a feeling.
Okay, so both of y'all just said something different. Love is a feeling and love is a choice. Which one is it?
It's still a feeling.
Feelings
It's still
could
a
be.
feeling, but it's a choice. It's expressed using feelings.
Yeah, I don't want to seem
It
like
is
I'm
a choice.
pounding on him, though. I don't want to seem like I'm getting on you because I kind of know where you're coming from. One of the things.
No, you're not pounding on me.
No, I
This
just
is
wanted to
actually a
make sure
discussion.
since I'm newer here, I don't want to put it in any kind of wrong context. I just can't. I can see where you're coming from, but I look at it a lot differently. I'm sorry for cutting you off, Bruiser. My whole thing is when you have a wife, a man, when you cleave to your woman and you have a relationship and a wife, and you start having children, one of the things that you have to understand is that the kids are not the center of your household. It's your relationship, right? Your relationship governs all of that stuff, right? So, and part of that relationship is the vows, the commitment, the obligation. And I guess love is in there too. I mean, I love my wife, and like I said, I'm happy I didn't have to worry about that. So
That's kind of sounds like an afterthought, though, Richard. Real talk. I mean,
okay,
ladies, what y'all hear? Like, let's get some of the ladies in on this conversation
Yeah,
because it's
that's
just
what it
man talk.
definitely does sound like afterthought, but that's what it sounds like. It sounds like I feel like even the guy that sent the chat in earlier said a woman's love is overrated. I
oh, I
feel
didn't
like a
agree with
lot of
that.
a lot
Well,
of
you know
men
what I
a
think
lot
he
of
was
men
also a
Hold on,
go
Trey.
ahead.
Hold on, Trey. Let her
Go
finish.
ahead, Carl.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
yeah, like I feel like a lot of guys sometimes feel that way. And someone spoke to um the marriages in um, high income family homes or high network homes. For some people it's dysfunctional. For some folks, a lot of men are caught up on optics. So if they're a slave to optics and a woman gives him everything that he needs, and maybe he doesn't he doesn't need her for anything emotional. He doesn't need her for, I mean, whatever his needs are, she meets them. He's not necessarily concerned with that. And Mr. Payne just spoke to the fact that he's been married 30 plus years. The last thing that he listed on the list of important things in his home was love. He's like, I guess I mean, I'm glad she loves me. That's not something I gotta worry about. And maybe that's because he's privileged. So that's the last thing he's thinking about, since that's not something that's not something you got to consider. No, and that's a good thing. So, and I meant to say that earlier. Shout out to you and your wife for 30 plus years, and her being able to fall asleep quickly too, because she know that her husband has it covered. But a lot of times people take that for granted too. So maybe that's why he said it last, as a married man that knows that he's in a loving marriage. A lot of times we take the things that just happen naturally that are in our day to day for granted. So that's the last thing he mentioned. But I mean, if we're going to be honest here, a lot of guys speak to that love piece as though, like these days anyway, in the podcasting, YouTube, Clubhouse scene, they make it seem as though a woman's love is the last thing on their mind. They just want a woman for what they want a woman for. It's just like, another tool in the day. So.
Hold on, y'all. Let me get Inaz in there. Go ahead, Inaz.
Thanks. Yeah, I agree with Lady T. I think that love coming last is interesting, especially because vows came before that. To love, honor, and cherish is part of vows. So I guess that part kind of threw me off a little bit. But so often all over social media, we talk about how, women are leaving the household, women are unhappy, women are selfish, women are all of these things. But if we're not concerned about love, or it's at the bottom of the list, are we not having a conversation about how it could be a huge factor to it, right? If it's just obligation, that's one end of the extreme, right? If it's just love, that's the total other end of the extreme. And I think to what Richard was talking about with his marriage is a balance of the two, right? You have to have that love and you have to have that obligation, because love is a feeling, love is a choice, it's fleeting. Sometimes you don't choose it. Life happens, right? We're all human beings. But if you don't have the two working in tandem, there's a lack of safety net in your relationship and is subject to failure, really.